Hey, in today's video, we're doing a review and tutorial of Monday.com in 2023. And I mentioned that because in the past year, there have been some additions and changes to Monday, and I want you to be aware of those, such as their Sales CRM. But what we're going to do in this video is we're going to start off very basic and then work our way up as we get a little bit more complicated in showing all the functionality and tools of Monday.com. So stick with me on this video, because by the end of the video, you're going to feel very confident to be able to organize that chaos that is business and life and be able to do that through Monday.com. So let's get to it. So what you can see up here in the upper left-hand corner is a workspace. This is going to be the top of the hierarchy. So for this particular tutorial, we're going to use workspace tutorial here. And then you can see that you have folders, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. And if you want to set up a folder, what you can do is you can click the plus icon here and you can do a new folder. But in this case, I just want to set up a new board because that's going to be the thing that's going to be the most common to most people. So when you're setting up the board, I'm just going to set it up as items. So you can see the board here on the left-hand side, and you can close this navigation if you'd like, and you can open it back up. And this is a board. This is a folder. If we were to move this into the folder, you can do that just by moving to and then move to folder and then picking the folder. And then within the board itself, there are a few different things. We have items, so each row is an item. And then you also have columns, and then you can also add new columns. And then you also have groups. So you can see like group title, I'm going to put 1, group title 2. So you can see this all laying out here. So the really interesting thing too is you can add so many different elements with the columns here. So if you want a timeline, you can add a timeline. So then you can put in like, if you're working on a project, this is when it started, this is when it's due. If you want to, put in a status for people, which you already have in this particular board, we're going to delete that because we don't need that. There's just a lot of things that you can do inside of this view as far as the columns. Now, some of the important things too are the search feature, filtering by person, filtering by anything, sorting, all of that, and then also the different views, which we can get into up here. Now, the reason that the filter view is really important is the more projects you have going on, or if you're potentially using this as a CRM, a customer relationship management platform, it can get a little bit overwhelming when you're looking at all the data. So let's say on this one, we got just one project that's stuck, one that's done, and then one that's working on it. What you can do is you can do filter, and then we can go to status and you just say, I want to see just projects that we're stuck on. So you can see now that that's all we're going to see in this filtered view. If you want to go back, what you can do is you can clear all, and then you can see all your different views. Now, going through each item, you can change the name of it. You can open it up and expand it, and then have files or updates and activity logs. This is really important because if you're somebody who has in the past used email or even Slack or any kind of communication platforms to manage a project, it's really difficult when somebody new comes in because they can't see all of that back history. So when you are actually holding a conversation within this specific item and you're writing updates in here, somebody's going to be able to come in and see all the history and be able to get up to speed without having to, bug team members to figure out what's going on. Now, typically, you always want to assign somebody to a project because that's also going to show up in your dashboards in different areas as well, which I'll get into in a little bit. Now, one of the things too is that you can add extra groups in here as well. The groups are good because if you have automations, which we're going to get into later in this video, you can start moving different items and projects into different groups based on automations. So one of the other things too I wanted to make you aware of is that this is a board view, but you can also do other basic stuff as well. So this is really helpful if you want to do documentation. So you can do a doc, and then with the documentation, you can start creating training materials. So you can do one from scratch, or a to-do list, project plan, marketing brief, whatever you need to do. But then you can start having training materials within your project management platform. One thing I would recommend though to people is when you're getting set up with this, I would start with a template, and here's why. So when you click a new item to add to your workspace, and we're going to go to choose from templates. There are a lot of different templates on Monday.com, and there's a ton that you can choose from. So let's say you happen to be in manufacturing. Well, here's 3 different templates you can choose from. If you're in real estate, let's say you're like, I need a customer relationship management, so real estate CRM. You can one-click this and click Use Template, and then it's going to populate a template for you. So you're already going to be on third base, and you just have to kind of make that template work for your needs. Now, I will mention that there's going to be a link in the description below that'll actually take you to the templates on Monday.com. And the cool thing about Monday.com too is that they have a free 14-day trial, so you can try it out and see if you like the tool itself, and then figure out how it works for your needs. So what you can see here is that one-click template. we have 4 different boards. We actually have 2 different boards, and then these are actually dashboards as well. And this is really cool because what you can see here is you can have your listings, you can have your sold properties, and then you also have your contacts as a separate board. And these boards are communicating in real time. So if we were to change something, like let's say this particular one, which is Annette Harding is the potential buyer, and we go from contract sent in the status to sold, what should happen is we're going to see an automation fire. And I'm going to show you later in this video how to actually create these automations yourself. So it moves it to sold. And then when you go to that contact, Annette Harding, and then you were to just say you'd want to look at Annette, so you'll see that she's still listed as a potential lead, but if you click on the link to the property, this is where you're going to see the listing status is sold on here. But chances are you're not watching this video because you're thinking about real estate CRM. So what I'd like to do is walk through a few different boards and show you a couple templates that are going to make things easier for you. So one of the easiest templates to work on is called a single project template. So again, if you were to just go and go into choose from templates, this is available for you. This was found underneath project management and then a single project here. So this is what the single project board looks like. And the way that this is split up is it's split up into 3 groups. Remember, these are groups right here: planning, execution, and launch. This is known as a Kanban board, sometimes called KanBan. Basically, it's 3 different sections. You always split up this type of work, which was popularized by Toyota, into 3 sections so that you're able to simplify things and know like what's in execution, what's in planning, and what is launched. So what you can see here is that the timelines are a little bit out of date because this was created a little bit ago. But the cool thing about this template is that it's going to automatically populate and update things. And I want to be able to show you why this is really helpful when it comes to creating a project dashboard or a Gantt chart view. So in this particular case, we have planning here, task 1, task 2, task 3. And what you'll see is that there's a really interesting column on here that says dependent on. And if you ever want little information, you can click the I button here and it'll say showing connected items from single project board. And then it says that this is going to be connected. So what you can see is that task 2 is dependent on task 1. And then task 3 is dependent on task 2, and you can go down the list. So why that's helpful is you can look at different views. And the way that you can see different views is by clicking up here. So these are just like you would think they are. Views are different ways of viewing this information. So some people prefer to look at it like this, where you can see everything in groups and it's kind of more in a list. Then other people might want to see a Gantt chart view. So if we go back here, because the dates are a little bit in the past, you'll see right here that the Gantt chart view is going to show you a visual timeline of exactly what needs to happen to plan, execute, and launch these milestones and tasks. So this is a really cool way for people who are visual and like to look at things from left to right in a Gantt chart. Very helpful to be able to do that. And again, all this is going to pull from your main table here. So if I was to change this, and this is January 8th to the 16th, let's say that we're going to make this a really, really long one. We're going to go October 1st, and then I think it was January 16th, right? So now we just made that a lot longer. What you'll see in the Gantt chart is you should see, when we go backwards, that really long stretch right here. And that is because that first task is apparently going to take a very long time, 128 days. So this is going to be very helpful, though, as you're going through things. Now, what I want to show you is a couple cool things that this does here. Now, the dependent on, we went over that, but then you have planned effort. So planned effort is how many hours do we think this task is going to take? And then there's actual effort spent, and then completion date and completion status. So if you're to look at some of these, let's say look at the completion date. This is automatically entered by automation, which is triggered by the status changing to done. All right, so that's something that we don't have to update. Then we can also look at this. Is it done on time? Well, this is actually done automatically. So the way they know that is on the status, if we click it to done and we do it in the time frame that they say that this timeline is done, then it's going to be automatically updated over here. So one of the really neat things about this is you can create different workflows. So let's see if this one's already got it built in. I'm going to change task 2 to working on it, or actually, why don't we make it task 1? We're going to make it working on it. And then I'm going to update it to done. And we're just going to see if this moves around at all. My guess is, yep, it's not moving around. So if you wanted to, what you can do is you can create automations or what's called workflows. They're up here in the upper right-hand corner. So if you click on this, what we're going to be able to see is active workflows that are already running right now. So right here, we can see that there's a couple different workflows. And then we can also go and browse templates, or we can create a custom workflow. But what I'm looking to do is I want to, when the status changes to something, move item to group. So these are kind of the most popular workflows, automations. And this is a really popular one that I want to show right now. So basically what I want to do is that when this task item here, working on it, is moved to done, I'd like to move it automatically to execution. So let's see how we'd set this up. So we're just going to one click this. Again, it's a template that's already set up. So when status and changes to done, then move item to execution. Now, the one tricky thing about this is like there is a two different statuses because there's like a select a sub item column. I believe it's this one. If it doesn't work, I'll show you how to fix that. So create automation, it's on, as you can see, and then we're going to close this out. So what should happen now is when this goes to done, that task one, once you see those kind of animations go, automatically moves into execution down here. So in this particular case, we may not actually want that to fire, but I just wanted to show you how some of these automations work. So why don't we take a look at some of the other automations and workflows. You can actually browse them by feature or industry, but let's say you're like, I want to notify somebody or I want to email somebody. Let's see if we got something on that. So I believe, yep, when column changes, notify someone and create an update with this text. So again, you can see how this would be really helpful because once you have your team subscribe to a board inside of Monday, what you can then do is, let's say that you have something where you have a status, and if somebody changes that status to stuck, you want to get an email. So you can make it so that your team member goes in, they go to a status, they change it to stuck. It'll automatically notify whichever team members that you want to be notified of that stuck status. So what this does is it reduces redundancy. So instead of this person having to click stuck, then open up their email and then notify you that they did this, it's just going to remove those steps. And that is why these types of tools are so important. That is because if you can reduce the amount of steps that your team's taking, you're also reducing their workload and you're freeing them up to actually work on the projects they need to get done rather than managing those projects. That's why workflows and automations are so important. So what I want to show you here too is you actually have a project dashboard. And this is really neat because you can customize this to kind of be your command center of all of your projects and be able to get a bird's eye view of what is going on with the projects that you're managing. So this task progress one is pretty neat because you can just get a quick visual. Okay, we're 25% done. 58.3% are future steps, and then we're moving down the line. You can also have a different visual over here. This is kind of weird. This is just like resource management. It's almost like a title that they put in here. But then you can also see like workload. So if we go back again, because the timelines are in the past, what you can see is that these are unassigned right now. But if we were to drop this down, you can see that there was that one task that's assigned. And then this is an execution, and we move that one around. If you remember, that's the one that's very long. But what this does is once you assign things to different people, we'll go back to this, you can get a quick visual of like how busy people are week to week, depending on the workload. So again, why don't we take a look at this and then just start assigning stuff to people. And I'm going to go person 1, person 2, I'm going to say admin, and then why don't we go back to our project dashboard. So what we should see now is those people actually showing up. And again, going back in the here, we can see that unassigned. So this week, everything's sent to unassigned. But this gives you an idea of like, hey, admin for this week is a little bit heavier. These two are free. But then as you're going as well, this is where you can start to see it kicking in. So you can get a really quick visual of how busy people are based on their workload. Now, the cool thing about this dashboard is you can add widgets, and you can do that up here. So let's say we want to get numbers, all right? Numbers can be a bunch of different things, and you can create this exactly how you want. So you're like, all right, where did this 187 come from? What you need to do is go to more options and settings. And then what we're going to do is we're going to choose groups. So you can see that this is coming from the planning, execution, and launch group. And then when you go to more setting options, you can see that it's the sum. And then numbers is the column duration. So what I'm interested in is I want to know on this particular one, what is the planned effort? And then I want this to be just for planning. So very quickly, I want to see, and I'm going to call this planned hours. Again, this is how many hours we think it's going to take to do these. And if I want to do a little bit more settings, what you can do here is you can create your own. So what I'm writing is hours. And then if I want to make that on the right, that's 32 hours. I'll just hit that R button. And this is a cloud-based tool, so everything is saving in real time. So I can just click exit full screen, and then you'll see planned hours. Now, if you want to move the dashboard around and customize it to your needs, we could do this. Well, now you can see that we have like some space here. So why don't we do this? And again, save ourselves some time. What we're going to do is duplicate this widget that we just created. But then I want to go to settings. And then this one is not going to be planned effort, but actual effort spent. I'm going to call this effort spent in hours. All right. And then we're going to close that out and make sure we have the right group. Yep. This is still in the planning phase. So then what you can see here is 32 hours of planned hours. Effort spent in hours is 34 hours. And if you want, you could make this, instead of resource management, this is planning management. And it's just very easy to customize a dashboard. And a dashboard is so helpful because it's going to be your command center for that bird's eye view of what is happening in your company, exactly how you want to see it. And if you do want to filter this by person or a certain item, you can do that as well. Now, one of the things that's worth mentioning right now as we're talking about the project dashboard is over here on the left-hand side is my work. So my work is really important because this is where your items are going to show up specifically for you. And this is super helpful for just getting a gauge on past items, what's needed today, this week, next week, later, and without a date. So this is really, really helpful for just kind of organizing that chaos in your mind and being able to see everything in one view over here. Now you're also going to have your inbox. So this is where you might see notifications popping up based on automations or different people tagging you within the platform. All your notifications will be over here or in your inbox, and then your notifications will pop open as well, letting you know that different things have changed in the platform as well. Personally, I like the My Work, being able to see this view, and then also your work management views, where you can actually go into a single project and look at a project dashboard, and then be able to change things on the fly with your main table. Hey, yes, I am a real person. My name is Eric, and I just wanted to make a quick reminder that in the description of this video, there are links for Monday.com. One is to sign up if you have yet to do that, and the other one is to those templates that I was talking about. Great way to get set up and really understand the platform is to get into it and look at the templates. So thank you for using my links. They are affiliate links, which means I can make a commission when you use my link, but you still get the best possible price. I really appreciate it because these videos take me a long time to do. So I really appreciate your support. All right, let's get back to the tutorial. So one of the things I wanted to show you too is a CRM. This is helpful in a few ways because a lot of businesses, they want to be able to track what's going on with their customers and what's happening with those customers. And again, this was just a one-click add to this tool via choose from templates when you hit the plus sign up here. So this is how Monday.com sets itself apart from all the other competitors on the market. It's a very visual platform. So I can very quickly see that this is a board, this is a dashboard, and it's just very visual in nature, which is great because most people are visual in the way that they like to look at information. And the best part is that they can look at different views. So we did talk about Kanban and then also dashboards and then Gantt. But let's say that you're more into cards. So you like looking at cards and being able to see a deal flow this way. You can do that as well. And the nice thing is that you can pin this for your account or add to your favorites and then set it as your board default, where somebody else could maybe set this KanBan style board for their default look. So whoever's using the tool can customize it to their preference and how they like viewing information. So what we're gonna do is look at the main table, and I just wanna show you how all of these different elements interact with each other and make it easy to be able to use the tool amongst different boards. So what we can see here is this is active deals and closed one. You can see the values over here. This is probably, for bigger business. This isn't like somebody coming out to like power wash your driveway or something. This is a bigger deals, but there's a lot of information that's put into here automatically. So this is really nice. Very important is the stage that you're in. This could be new, discovery, proposal, negotiation, won, or lost. If you need to edit any of these, you can edit them by adding a new label, or you can also close and delete a label. Because let's say like in this particular case, you're like, we actually don't have negotiation for our deal flow. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this one actually is deleted out. So you can't delete a label while in use. Okay, got it. So what we need to do is change that one to discovery. And then what we're going to do is click here, edit labels, and then you can see that we can actually delete that one out. So we're going to apply. All right. So what happens here is let's make the owner, myself here, and then the accounts here. So who is this account attached to? This is attached to Madison Doyle, and then the deal name, priority, and everything on here, industry, etc. So as you start to change things, it's going to change it and update it for the contacts as well. Because what you can see here is this person, she's a customer, and this is the information. So you can see it over here. Again, I know I covered this earlier, but just want to make you aware of this because this is really important that this information can change on the fly. So let's say she's actually a partner and not a client. So when we go to contacts, now what you should see is this should update in a little bit, showing you that she is now a partner. So part of the reason that I wanted to show you this CRM is the dashboard itself. This is really, really cool. So what we have here is the CRM Learning Center and then the Sales Dashboard. Why don't we start with the Sales Dashboard? So here it's loading and you can see active deals, forecasted revenue. We can see average value of won deals, actual revenue, sales pipeline, monthly goals, and then forecasted revenue, all sorts of things by stages. Because if you're in sales at all in your business, you know that you always have to be feeding your pipeline. You have to have a forecast of what revenue is going to be, and then are you hitting your goals or not? So we always need to make sure that this pipeline is moving along when it comes to your sales. So the way that that's working is if you go back to deals, you can see that you have the deal value and then the expected close date, and then you get to assign a close probability. And that's also factoring in for the forecast value. Because you can see in this particular case, this is $78,000, but the forecast value is $39,000 because of this close probability. If we were to increase the close probability, let's say to 99%, then you're going to see that number jump up there. You're going to see your overall close probability jump up, and then your forecasted value here jump up. So 2050-20, if we go back to the sales dashboard, we should see that number here, and that has changed. And then again, if we want to go back and let's say we're going to make this a 5% probability, this should say 176,700. That is going to update in live time on your sales dashboard to 176,700, as you can see here. So really cool that you can get these numbers all factored in here as you're going through, and it's all happening in live time. Now let's take a look at the CRM Learning Center. So this is helpful. Monday.com does a great job with articles and videos walking you through everything. So if you ever need help like setting up your CRM, this is going to be your learning center for that. And they also do live webinars that you can join in on and be able to ask questions as well. They do a great job not only with their marketing, but also with their customer support and just having good trainings and tutorials for people as well. Now, last thing, let's go through the contacts here. We went through that, the accounts. This is where you have companies. So this is nice that this is all split out, right? Because you want things on a different board, but you want them to all communicate together. So you may add different accounts, contacts, or leads. And then this is how all these different activities, and we're on the activities right now, are going to be able to talk together and then show up into your sales dashboard. So one of the other things that I want to talk about, which is really helpful, which is an underutilized feature of any kind of project management tool, is being able to add a item here. And what we're going to do is do a new form. Now, the reason that a new form is really cool is this is something that can actually be embedded very easily onto your website or other places, or you can get a link to be able to share the form. Okay, so the form here is really powerful, and that's because you can edit the form to be exactly what you want it to be. And let's say that you're just new lead, and then we can make these different types of questions. So this is an untitled question, but we're gonna make this isn't an option question. I want actually this to be a different type of question where it's just give me your email, all right? So we're gonna delete this first one because I don't think we need this untitled question. I need an email, and then I also need their, why don't we say number, and then very quickly, how about their name? I'm sure that's on here somewhere. I'm just missing it. Let's see here. Surprisingly, they don't have names, so it's probably just gonna be short text. And then we're gonna make this right here, first name, okay? So we have all this information, and then anytime you see these little dots here, this is how you can drag to reorder things. And then I'm gonna make all three of these things required here by clicking this box here. So this one, you can see the number here. I'm gonna make sure that they're clear that this is a phone number that they need to enter, and then I'm gonna make that required as well. So once this is done like this, and you can add an upload a logo and customize it and look at results and everything. What I'm gonna do is click publish. And then now what we have is the ability to copy this link and then share this with people. So what this would look like for somebody else is if the new lead comes in, they can say, first name, and we're gonna put Deanne, and then email, and then we're D at gmail.com. And then phone number, we're just going to put 999-888-7766. All right, and we're just going to click submit. So this new lead now will be easily submitted into your actual Monday.com account. So where this is being housed right now is under the real estate CRM here, but it's in a separate board. So what we can have is this new form. And if you click up here, this is the form response viewer. And then this was that lead that we just saw come in. And then, you'd probably want to, kind of spruce this up a little bit in the way that it looks. But then what we can do is we can actually create automations and workflows from this. So the cool thing about Monday.com is their search function kind of auto-populates. So if I start writing form, you'll see that you actually have a couple different options that come up here for automations. So one of the last things I want to talk about are the apps on the left-hand side, because these can be very powerful. Now, these forms here, this is done by WorkForms, powered by WorkForms, but they also have forms that go in with type forms. So that's one that you can integrate with. So I'm going to start writing form and then just see what shows up. You can have type form, easy form, HubSpot embedded forms. There's all sorts of different things that you can integrate with on here. Some of the more popular ones are in the marketing space. So if you're doing social media or you're doing things like SEMrush or anything out there, you can easily integrate these into Monday.com. So this is helpful because, let's say you're in product and efficiency and you've been using Google Sheets up to this point and you're just trying to take things to the next level. Well, for free, you can integrate those Google Sheets into your workflows and be able to see it in your dashboard very easily. So very cool that they have all these different apps in their own kind of app store, and you can explore those by category or different types of features that you need to be able to look at. So at this point, I want to be able to jump back and forth a little bit on the pricing, because I wanted to make you aware of why you may want to be in the individual versus basic, standard, pro. Enterprise is another animal, right? If you're a large company, you can contact them. But what I wanted to do is show you that the individual, this is free forever and it's up to 2 seats. So typically people that end up upgrading out of individual is because they want some of the automations or they have more than 2 people that are using the tool. So when you get into even the lowest basic package here, that's when you get unlimited free viewers. This is important because if you have people outside of your account that need to view some of the information, they can do that as well. You get unlimited items, 5 gig of storage, prioritize customer support, and create a dashboard based on 1 board. All right. But if you're looking at creating a dashboard based on 5 boards, right? What it's talking about there is why don't we go back and actually look at our sales dashboard. This sales dashboard that we're looking at here, this is based on several boards. This is based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different boards here. So people that have a little bit more complex business and want to be able to see information in a dashboard, that's what it's talking about there when it's talking about dashboards on 1 or up to 5 boards. Now, the automations, the way that those work and the integrations is you get a certain amount of actions per month. So if you were to have an automation that's firing 3 times a day and it's 7 days a week, maybe at the end of the month, you have 90 actions that are happening from that one automation. Now, a lot of times though, your automations, you're only firing maybe once or twice a month because it's not something you're using as much, but it's going to kind of depend on your business. If you remember the timeline and Gantt chart views, this is in the standard, their most popular package, which is $10 a seat per month. If we go back here, why don't we take a look at why don't we look at the single project? And then we saw the Gantt chart view. So this was the one that was the Gantt chart view. That is in the, again, going back to the standard package. And then also the timeline view would be available in this as well. So if you click here and you're like, nah, I want to see this in a timeline view, you can go to more views and then be able to find the timeline view, which is going to look a little bit different than the Gantt chart view. The Gantt chart view is more like being able to observe the overall projects, and then the timeline view gives you swim lanes and the ability to view each lane here of each person and what they have going on as far as projects for themselves. All right, so Pro, there are some features that we've been looking at here that would be included with Pro and not the other packages. So the formula column, so creates formulas to perform data calculations on your Monday.com boards. Now, if we go back and we take a look at the deal flow here. So what we have here is the forecasted value. Well, when you click I on this one, if you recall, this one is actually a formula. So if you want to be able to add formulas, it's a little bit more advanced. That's going to be in your most advanced Pro package right there. The other thing that's worth mentioning is obviously your automations and integrations go through the roof at 25,000. And then you also have private boards and docs. Very nice if you do need to split things up and you don't want team members seeing certain things. That's where you're going to be able to see that. So I wanted to show this to you because this is confusing sometimes when you're just looking at these features and you don't actually understand what they connect to and what it looks like in the tool itself and why you might want some of those features. As mentioned earlier, there are links and resources in the description below, and also the video right here is going to walk you through different project management tools and which one might be the right fit for your needs. So I'll catch you in that next video, and thanks for watching.